What's really going on? Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. Today, going to be taking a look at XLM against USDT. Going to be assessing some of these key technical aspects of price action moving forward. Going to be considering some of the pivotal areas of support and resistance we're going to be interacting with in the very near future here. Let me know in the comments down below. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Do you trade? Do you hold? Or do you let the price action unfold? What are you doing with your bag if you have one? Are you bullish on price action? Do you believe we're at support? Do you think price action is likely to rally back upward, interact with these, 70 cents, 80 cents that we came from in the not so distant past? Or are you bearish on price action? Do you believe there's more downside ahead of us? Support has yet to be found, and we're likely to head to, break through 20 cents, 10 cents, 5 cents, 0. What are your thoughts on price action moving forward? Let me know down in the comment section. Now, jumping right into it. To kind of recap very briefly, price action that has had these examples of very vertical movement upward, followed by prolonged consolidation sideways and downward toward critical kind of resistance that we broke during that kind of volatile run. To consider what appears to be a very aggressive phase of sideways from these kind of critical levels, sort of near lows of what appears to be 19 cents all the way up to this 24-cent level. Seems to be a critical range that we have rallied from at the beginning of this year all the way to 80 cents in the kind of middle of May of this year. Now back to this 24 cent to 20 cent kind of range that we just came from. And so price action is interacting with what could be a very bullish bounce level, and we could very much find support here, as we do have an example of price action bouncing from levels beneath this 24 cent line. We have this candle coming all the way down to sort of 23 cents, and so price action could very much be bullish enough to be bought up, and we can find our way above 24 cents sooner than later and solidify that as support. Although if we do perhaps confirm that as resistance, that could slap price action all the way down toward potential support at 16 cents. And so I do believe current levels are in a very pivotal state, and we'll have to see how the next kind of couple daily candles react to this level before we can confirm this as support or resistance. Now, a new perspective comes into play when we consider EngineeringRobo, along with the Fibba, Illuminati, Fettuccini, Zucchini, Bugattis, and Fettuccini again lines. We can see a new perspective come into play here. We do have that sell force still present from the 19th of May, that abrupt break downward, sending price action plummeting all the way to that ascending trend line and then some. You have these aggressive wicks on the 19th of May and the 23rd of May, stretching all the way down to 28 cents and 27 cents. We bounce in a very bullish manner to interact with these kind of upper levels, although I guess we were bearish enough to fail to hold that 200 daily. And once we got down there, the sell pressure increased, and more downside continued. Although fundamentally, I do believe we are quite bullish, as all of these dips and all of these all this bearish price action is met with some very bullish wicks, and price action is getting bought up very quickly. And so I do believe there's a very high demand for stellar still at these levels, although there's a very high technical sell pressure present, causing some perhaps necessary downside and accumulation required for the uptrend to continue in the long term. I'm still quite bullish in the long term overall, although perhaps some more short term downside might present itself. Although I do believe a bottom is approaching very soon, whether it's near these levels or perhaps near 16 cents. I do believe a bottom is approaching. Say we solidify resistance at 24 cents, that could slap price action toward 26 cents. A more bullish bounce target would be the 0.236 Fettuccini line at 21 cents. We can be more bullish short term if we look like we're going to hold there, and price action can find its way back above 24 cents again. Say we solidify that level as support. I do believe a level that will cause a significant pullback is going to be the 0.382 Fettuccini line at 32 cents. With a very high technical sell pressure, I do believe any short-term upside we see will be met with some rather aggressive retracements and pullbacks that we will have to see how they get bought up moving forward to determine just how bullish the short-term might be. So lots of factors coming into play at the moment, lots of technical sell pressure and perhaps overhead resistance along the way up. Fundamentally, quite bullish overall, and a bottom is approaching. But now, a new perspective comes into play when we consider XLM against the price of Bitcoin. Now, I do believe this is a tad more bearish, in my opinion. I do believe with price action failing to hold this 750 Satoshi level, if we were to come back up to and confirm that as resistance, it could slap price action down toward this 670 Satoshi level there that we interacted with briefly on the 23rd of February, for a period of days between kind of the 11th of March and kind of 4th of April. We had price action interacting with lows near kind of like 668 and resistance found at that 750 level. And so price action getting trapped between this range could suggest perhaps some prolonged phase of sideways or accumulation to find support along it. We did find support last time we were down here, so we could very well find support again. So we will have to see kind of how price action plays out with between these kind of key ranges. It's a very tight zone that we will be trapped sideways in for a period of days with moving forward. This does look like a very bullish area we could bounce from, like I said, although we will have to see kind of how the momentum of the market plays out. A new perspective comes into play when you consider EngineeringRobo, along with the Fibugatti, Fiba Illuminati, Fettuccini, Fiba Illuminati again lines. We can see this new perspective come into play. We have price action looking a tad bearish kind of still. We have that sell for still in play. Price action below the 200 daily moving average against the price of Bitcoin, suggesting some very high sell pressure is present. Some sideways might be necessary. Once we get some EngineeringRobo buy signals coming back into play, we can be far more bullish in the short term. Perhaps a relief rally is approaching. Once some buy signals come back into play, then we can get more excited for some upside. Although we are looking like we are facing some very high technical sell pressure. Significant support can be found at this perhaps near the 670 level, like I've been suggesting. This was a key level that we did bounce from, and so the 0.236 Fettuccini line at 658 Satoshi is going to be another suggestion of potential bullish support down at these ranges. Resistance found at 750 Satoshi. Once we break that level, another area of resistance I believe we're going to interact with is going to be 840 Satoshi at the 0.382 Fettuccini line. Along with the underside of this 200 daily moving average, wherever that might be, there's going to be some very high technical sell pressure present. So I believe once we start finding support and rallying upward, there might be some significant resistance ahead of us that we will have to break and confirm as support moving forward before we can kind of continue the uptrend. And I do believe that would be a more healthy recovery rather than a kind of like bullish stretch that will be met with a very aggressive pullback just as quick as it kind of comes up. Now, lots going on for XLM here against the price of Bitcoin. When we consider Bitcoin against USDT, we can see price action in the very critical, pivotal state of sideways slapping and being kicked between this very critical range. We have price action trying to bounce off of 32K, but getting completely slapped and spit on by 34K. That 0.5 Fettuccini line is going to be very significant moving forward. If that is solidified as resistance over the next kind of coming couple days here, I do believe that is going to plow us through 32K all the way down to potential support at 27K, sub 30K at the 0.382 Fettuccini line. And so price action for the past couple months has been very tight, very up and down, very aggressive, very volatile phases of accumulation, much sideways. Not really much to be doing at the moment other than waiting for this very crucial breakout. And so, I mean, we do have, some technical bearish reasons why we could break downward. Price action below the 200 daily. We came from a very, borderline parabolic run up since kind of this time last year and just before. Price action has been very bullish since previous all-time highs near 20K. And so we could very well be bearish enough to come from this very euphoric, appears to be local top near sort of 60K, 64K there. We could very well be bearish enough to return to the 20s and teens and find price action accumulating in those levels and perhaps finding support at those levels, which would be overall very bullish for the trend in the long term. I do believe price action returning to those previous ranges would be very healthy for the trend in the long run, and that would be some of the best opportunities to buy Bitcoin before we are the inevitable six figures, whether that's this year or next year or the year after. I do believe in the long run, Bitcoin will still likely find its way upward, although these pullbacks, these consolidations phases, these this sideways that we have, I do believe is very healthy for the trend to build in the long term. Even with price action below this 200 daily moving average, which is suggesting very high technical sell pressure and a very long downtrend approaching, I do believe the fundamental buy pressure of Bitcoin at these levels suggested by all these wicks here suggests that we are still fundamentally very bullish, and there's a very high demand for Bitcoin at these ranges. Now, lots going on with price action. Will we break up? Will we break down? Is 34K resistance or support? What will Bitcoin do over the next coming days here? We have that sell for still on the 12th of May. Price action below the 200 daily moving average. We have plenty of room for downside to still be bullish in the long term. Although we do have plenty of room for upside and still be bearish in the short term. Say we find support at 34K, we could get slapped all the way back down to it by the 0.618 Fettuccine line at 41K, in addition to the underside of the 200 daily moving average. So there's definitely a reason for there to be fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the market. There's lots going on, lots of reasons why we could break up or down. Long term, I'm always bullish on Bitcoin. There's never a bad time to buy Bitcoin, only better times. Although we got to go with the flow of the market, so up or down. Very high technical sell pressure, very high fundamental buy pressure. Let me know your thoughts on the direction of price action moving forward. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hearing my analysis. Try EngineeringRobo free with the link in the description. Subscribe here on YouTube. Check out all the other social media down below. And tune in for the next one.